The winter wind blew through the wooden walls of a small log cabin in Kentucky in the year 1809. Inside the cabin, a baby boy slept quietly while his parents worked hard to survive another cold day. That baby was Abraham Lincoln, a child who would one day become one of the most important leaders in the history of the United States. But at that time, no one could imagine that the poor boy in that simple cabin would grow up to change a nation. Abraham's father, Thomas Lincoln, was a farmer and a carpenter. He worked long hours cutting wood and farming small pieces of land to support his family. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was kind and gentle. She loved her children very much and tried to teach them good values. Life for the Lincoln family was not easy. They were very poor and lived in a small wooden cabin with almost nothing inside. There were no comfortable beds, no electricity, and sometimes not enough food. When Abraham was still very young, his family moved from Kentucky to Indiana. They hoped to find better land and a better life. The journey was long and difficult. They traveled through forests and muddy paths, carrying their few belongings. When they arrived in Indiana, they built another small log cabin in the wilderness. Abraham was only a small boy, but he already understood that life was hard. Abraham did not have the chance to go to school regularly. In those days, schools were far away and many poor children had to work instead of studying. Abraham only attended school for a short time, perhaps less than a year in total. But even though he had little formal education, he had something very special, a strong desire to learn. Books were rare and valuable in the countryside. Whenever Abraham heard that someone had a book, he tried to borrow it. He would walk many miles just to read a single book. At night, he sat near the fireplace and read by the weak light of the fire. Sometimes he wrote notes on pieces of wood or on the back of old paper because he had no notebooks. Young Abraham loved stories, history, and knowledge. He read every book he could find. He read about famous leaders, great ideas, and the world beyond the forests where he lived. Each book opened a new door in his mind. Slowly, he began to understand that education could change his life. When Abraham was 9 years old, something very sad happened. His mother, Nancy, became very sick and died. Her death was a terrible loss for the young boy. Abraham loved his mother deeply, and he felt lonely and heartbroken. Before she died, she told her children to always be kind and honest. These words stayed in Abraham's heart for the rest of his life. About a year later, Abraham's father married another woman named Sarah Bush Johnston. Sarah became a caring stepmother for Abraham and his sister. She quickly noticed that Abraham loved reading and learning. Instead of stopping him from studying, she encouraged him. She allowed him to spend time with books and supported his curiosity. Abraham always respected her and later said she was one of the best friends he ever had. As Abraham